Hey there, good Sunday morning. Happy Super Bowl Sunday. We've got Winter Olympics. This is actually a huge day for NBC, but it's extremely cold outside here in Connecticut. I'm NBC Connecticut Storm Tracker meteorologist Alexis Clemens here to tell you about what's going on out there because man, it is cold. Hopefully you're watching this from inside. And I mean, I've been monitoring the feels like temperatures all morning long. And I want to tell you how cold it's gotten. I also want to explain a little bit about the wind chill. We'll talk about what happened yesterday with the snow, and we'll look ahead to warmer air and if we have any chances for snow or even some rain in the forecast, believe it or not, as temperatures warm on up. So we're going to go ahead and get right into it. Ask any questions that you have. Now that we've got, of course, Olympic coverage on, we have lesser shows, especially during the midday and in the morning hours there. So it is very nice that we are able to chat with you this way. And this way you can ask a lot of questions as well. So here's a look at some of the feels like temperatures right now. This is at 9:31 in the morning on Sunday, February 8th. And actually, it's improved a little bit, but still extremely cold. Look at that, -19 at Windsor Locks. That's the coldest that I've seen there now, -19. It's been -22 in Waterbury, -20 in Torrington, also -19 in New London. I want to show you how cold I've seen, though. Wind chill temperatures, or at least data, kind of hard to come by. We don't keep as much track of that as we would temperatures, but I've been monitoring the wind chills all morning long, and I have seen it get down to -30 degrees in Torrington, -26 even in Waterbury, and -22 in Groton. Extremely, extremely cold. So that's why we do have an extreme cold warning still in effect. That actually is until 1 p.m. today for that extreme cold warning, because anything below -20, that creates a lot of issues. Anything below -20 is when frostbite can form within about 30 minutes of exposure. -30, it gets down to almost only 20 minutes outside, and you can start to feel the effects of frostbite. So that's why it's so important right now. But I want to point out that we've got this 1 p.m. Sunday alert ending, then, right? It's an extreme cold warning, but for most of us, it's actually going to roll over and just be slightly downgraded to a cold weather advisory. I want to explain this graphic really quickly for you. So once the extreme cold warning expires, a cold weather advisory takes over. Now, you'll notice that 3 counties are not in it yet. I think that'll change. Connecticut's very interesting because we're under the jurisdiction of 3 different National Weather Service offices. So New York, Albany, and Boston. So Boston is what we're waiting on to potentially extend that cold weather advisory. So just know, even though our warning ends at 1, it's still really chilly, and it's going to be that way as we go through Monday morning. Then we'll start to see some improvements. I also want to just show you these wind gusts right now as well. Oh, they've been brutal, especially down in Groton, down to up to 38 miles an hour. I wish those were the temperatures. That would be lovely, but no, that's miles per hour of that wind. And I want to talk about how windy it was yesterday, because that was very brutal as well. We saw wind gusts up to 54 miles an hour. We even had a couple of videos from some weather observers, which you can always email us your reports, pictures, videos, whatever it might be, at share it at nbcconnecticut.com. But one of our weather observers sent us a what was it? It was a video of like a power surge because of how insanely windy it was yesterday. So eventually we'll see it pop up. It takes a second. So here's a look at your wind gust reports. 54 miles an hour in Groton, 52 miles an hour. This was yesterday in New Haven, 45 miles an hour in Meriden. 39 in Waterbury, 38 in Willimantic. So extremely windy yesterday. And that wind is just, it's tough this time of year. And actually, I posted a video about this on my social media, so you can check it out there. Or I can explain it to you right now why wind is such a big factor this time of year. Because I've had so many people ask, what is a feels like temperature? What does that mean? And we'll tell you. So a feels like temperature is exactly what it sounds like. It's the temperature at which your body feels like it is. And it all has to do with wind and biology. When there's no wind, things are okay, because with our bodies, we have a layer of heat. We have moisture on our skin that protects us, keeps us warm, right? When wind comes into play, it's a completely different story. Basically, that wind pushes away that layer of heat, that it makes that moisture on our bodies evaporate very quickly. And that's why on a 20-degree day with a 20-mile-per-hour wind, it'll feel like 4 degrees. That's why wind is such a huge factor. Because, I mean, even though these temperatures right now are cold, the wind just makes it so much worse. You cool down quickly, and that's how, again, frostbite can form faster in these conditions. It speeds up that heat loss process. It's really interesting combining weather and the biology factor into it. But that's why wind is such a big factor. And kind of the same thing is you can use that for the reverse, the heat index, right? It's the same kind of thing, but in reverse. Warmer air holds more moisture around you. That moisture that's on your body makes it really hard to evaporate. And evaporation is our cooling process. So I find it personally very interesting. I hope you do as well. I just think a lot of people have asked, what is a wind chill? Why is there a feels like temperature? Why can't I look at the regular temperature? This is why. Wind makes a huge difference this time of year, especially with snow on the ground. That's extremely cold air trapped on the ground right now. So that it's going to be a factor through today and tomorrow. All right, now let's answer the question of how long the cold air lasts, because I think that's on everybody's mind. When can we move on? Well, it all depends on the wind, which will be decreasing as we go through tomorrow night. But we do have to get through, again, we're in the coldest of the year right now, but it's still chilly through Sunday and even through parts of Monday as well. Because of that wind, it's gusting already still today up to 35 miles an hour, and it's going to stay that way as we go through your Sunday and your Monday. So Sunday night, we'll start to see, those wind gusts still about 25 miles an hour, Sunday night into Monday there. So still seeing that breeze. It doesn't fully die down until we head towards Monday night. That's when you'll really feel finally milder air. It's all relative, because when did we ever think that 33 degrees was going to be milder, right? So this is very interesting for sure. But Monday, you'll see those winds up to about 25 miles an hour. Then they'll start to die down as we go through Monday night. So feels like temperatures are still going to be a factor through Monday, kind of the midday morning hours there. So right now it's below 0 for those wind chills. It's going to stay that way through much of the day. Some of us might see a wind chill of about 5 degrees this afternoon. Not going to feel like much of an increase though. It's still very, very cold. And then I want to prepare you right now. Wind chills for Monday morning, not looking too good. So I think the Monday after the Super Bowl is always hard to get to work and school. This one, unfortunately, going to be amplified by that wind and that cold. So be prepared tomorrow morning. That wind chill will drop again to -5 to -15 degrees tomorrow morning. Not extreme cold warning threshold numbers, but still very, very cold, likely enough for a cold weather advisory, which most of us have. So we'll see that through your Monday morning. Then by Monday afternoon, never thought I'd be excited about. Feels like temperatures in the teens and 20s, but it's going to feel a lot warmer. Then that wind is not a factor by Tuesday. You can definitely look forward to that. So because the 30s will return as we go towards Tuesday. And here's the part that's exciting. Finally, it wants to stay there. We've seen a couple of different blasts of Arctic air, right, over these last couple of weeks. Now it just looks like we're kind of staying put in the 30s. We'll take it. Technically, it's a little below average for this time of year, but it's close enough, I think. And I think everybody's okay if the temperature and the wind chill stay above 0. I think that's kind of the threshold now that we can be excited about. So that's kind of what we're seeing there. And again, just telling you right now, tomorrow morning, still going to be very chilly. If you're able to this afternoon, or again, this tomorrow morning, if you haven't brushed off your cars yet from the snow, I definitely would recommend doing that, but layer up a lot because again, you want to keep your skin from being exposed to the cold. That's what really does it. So it's really, really tough there. So I'll show you Mondays. Looks like we have a comment. Somebody from, I would assume from my last station in Wisconsin, said, this is what we were dealing with in the upper Midwest last week. It was brutal, even for Wisconsin. I believe it. Yeah. And now we're dealing with it today, but we're finally going to get out of it by Tuesday. But just be prepared tomorrow. This is what the bus stop is going to look like. Bundle up those kids. 3 degrees as we head out the door tomorrow morning, but that wind chill is going to make it feel a little bit closer to like -10. So just be prepared. Very, very chilly, but things are going to get a little bit warmer. A lot of people were asking questions about what happened yesterday because it was a very, very interesting setup. Most of the state 1 to 4 inches, which is pretty much what we were expecting. However, Eastern Connecticut, yesterday's snow completely overproduced. I want to show you what I'm talking about here because these snowfall totals, this was from yesterday, not from a couple weeks ago, from yesterday. 10.8 inches in Voluntown, 9.5 in North Stonington, 8.5 in Griswold, 8 in Killingly, 7.5 in Mystic. This is all on the eastern part of Connecticut here. Let's talk about why this happened. Well, first of all, it was a fluffy snow. Fluffy snow, if you have a heavy band of it, it'll accumulate super, super quickly. But what we saw was a heavy band for several hours and accumulated very quickly. This is actually a kind of a rare phenomenon that we don't talk about a lot about in meteorology because it doesn't happen too often and it's very difficult to forecast. So a big kudos to Bob Baxton was the first one to sniff it out. And then we were watching it and we're like, all right, originally we thought, all right, this is going to set up in Rhode Island, which it did. It did set up in Rhode Island. Southern Rhode Island, I think, got the brunt of this system, but it made its way just a little bit further west into Eastern Connecticut. And that's what happened. Really strong air masses came together, also kind of helped fuel our windy weather, but led to some really heavy snow for a few hours. I mean, I think we had at one point 2 inch per hour snowfall rates in Eastern Connecticut. That's a lot, and that's going to accumulate very quickly. And that's exactly what happened. So again, they're very narrow bands, and that's very much what we saw. Originally, we're like, all right, it's going to stay in Rhode Island, but it just barely made its way across the border into Connecticut. So that's what happened yesterday. A very interesting system. Somebody says, so cold in Meriden. Oh, it's brutal. It's horrible. It took my car a little bit to start up this morning. I was a little nervous. It was a little rickety for sure, but my window wouldn't roll down because of just how cold it was. So tough. Somebody says, as long as the power is working for the Super Bowl, absolutely. I do believe we saw a couple of power outages yesterday, but I believe they're back up and running. So that is good news there. Still breezy today, but not as windy as what caused all of that yesterday. This is so somebody says, can't wait for the warmer temps. Really, I have 2 sad dogs because it's too cold to be walking and too cold to be out very long. Oh, I'm sure. We were talking about that this morning. We had the cutest little puppy come in this weekend for Pet of the Week. Oh my goodness, she was adorable. And I'm like, oh, it's tough for the pets. I mean, even the ones that like the cool weather, their paws, you have to be so careful about. And if it's too cold for you, it's too cold for them. So unfortunately, yeah, it might just be a quick little potty break outside for the puppies. But finally, by tomorrow afternoon, definitely by Tuesday, feels a lot better. So it's good news there that finally we can look ahead and have good news when it comes to these temperatures. I do want to tell you, though, a little bit about what's coming up, because we do have 2 precipitation chances this week that I wanted to chat with you all about. So we're going to talk about it. The first one is actually starting to form right now in Canada, and it's actually kind of a textbook kind of system here. So here's what we're looking at right now. Satellite and radar at 9:45 this morning. Fine, clear skies. Very cold though, of course. A little bit of snow that's some lake effect snow happening from Lake Michigan. That's really interesting. It's traveling all the way down to Virginia and the Carolinas. That shows you how strong that wind is. Wow, that's fascinating. Sorry, I'm like, I can't believe that. That's because I was like, where's that coming from? Yeah, very interesting. I do want to point out though, let me grab my little pointer. So you can't really see it because it's just out of our view, but over here towards Calgary, in Alberta, Canada there, that is our next system. And it's forming over the Alberta province of Canada. So effectively, it's called an Alberta Clipper. In meteorology, we all know what these mean. And basically, they're very narrow bands of snow that impact certain areas, and they take a very specific track. So here's what we're kind of watching here. So we're watching it form, moving across southern Canada. Watch, there it goes, putting itself together again over the Great Lakes region, Wisconsin, Michigan, now into New York. But watch what happens here. We're watching this for late Tuesday. Most of this system wants to stay in northern New England. So that's kind of what we're watching for. Again, this would be Tuesday afternoon into Tuesday night, early Wednesday there. Most of this wants to stay in northern New England, but we could see a couple of flakes, maybe I would say a dusting to an inch at best through Tuesday night. Again, we'll have to watch the exact path here, but just be prepared for maybe a little bit of snow added on Tuesday night into Wednesday. Doesn't look like much, but we'll keep an eye on it. Again, a dusting. I would say the shoreline, probably not going to see any of this, but everybody else, you do have a chance to see a little bit of snow. Remember, this is Tuesday night. So that's what we'll be watching for there. I'll show you the 10-day forecast because I think the numbers you'll enjoy because they're finally looking decent with those high temperatures. But I also want to point out next weekend is a holiday weekend with Valentine's Day and President's Day. So a prolonged weekend, that 3-day weekend there, once the 10-day does populate. Right now, we've got a chance for a rain-snow system on Sunday. That one might be something that we need to pay attention to. We're watching the model runs right now. They're starting to come together for an event that would really, it would mainly be Sunday, but this is still one whole week away. Very difficult to nail down, but just giving you a heads up right now that we are monitoring the potential for a rain snow system. It would be all snow if temperatures were as cold as they are right now, but they're looking to warm up. So I guess there's at least a plus there. We're going to be in the teens today, but of course feels much cooler than that. Same with tomorrow in the 20s. Then finally the 30s on Tuesday. And once the 30s are here, they're sticking around. Like I said, technically it's still a little below average for this time of year, but we'll take it. We will take it. It's been such a cold start to February, but those temperatures are starting to warm into the 30s. We even have a couple of 40s on the 10-day, which makes me so excited. Briseda Landaverde and I, our morning anchor, we were chatting, and we're like, you know what? We're going to have to bring like confetti when we have our first 40-degree day, after such a long stretch of cold weather, because it's just been so chilly. And I mean, what we're seeing right now is just unbearable, truthfully. There's no other word to describe it, but really chilly today, tomorrow, finally getting better by late tomorrow into Tuesday. But I would just keep in mind, small little system Tuesday night, but a better chance for a little system, a bigger system, I should say, to put itself together by next weekend. So that would be the 15th, in between Valentine's Day and President's Day. So we're going to keep an eye on that. Timing can still change. The track can still change, of course. It's 7 days away, but it's something that we are paying attention to. But if you are sick of the cold, here's something that might make you smile. Yay, finally milder weather. We haven't seen these temperature signals of warmer than average air since I think it's been a month. So this is nice. This is a nice change of pace here. I'll zoom out a little bit. You can see that it's definitely more of a signal for the central portion of the country, a little bit less on the East Coast. So we're going to keep an eye on it. But this is the first time we've seen warmer signals. For the last month, it's been super warm on the West Coast and super cold all along the East Coast. So it looks like we'll flip-flop. So that's kind of what we're watching as we go through the middle and potentially the second half of February. So I think that's good news. I know when it comes to warm weather this time of year, a lot of people are like, oh, what about the slopes? What about, all of the winter weather festivities? I'll tell you right now from the conversation I had with people at the slopes a few weeks ago, they have so much snow on the ground right now. I think they're set. And most of it came 2 weeks ago from that snowstorm. So I think we're all excited for the warmer temperatures, or at least something warmer than what we're seeing right now, because this is there's just can't do anything when it's negative 30 degrees outside. Before I let you go, though, if anybody has any questions, of course, drop them in the comments. Before I let you go, this is such a big day for NBC, and I'm so happy to be a part of it because we've got the Olympics and the Super Bowl right here. So excited. We showed this earlier today, but we are colder than both Milan Cortina and Santa Clara, California, which is to be expected. But in Milan, those temperatures, I know Gabby Lucevero is there. They're doing all of their stuff. It's on NBC Connecticut right now. I'm actually watching it in our array. That's right here. You can't see it, but I can see. Looks like they're doing some skiing of some sort. Looks great. But temperatures are in the 40s and 50s there. So looking great for them. And then Santa Clara, we have a team out there as well. Matt Satilli and Andrew Rowan. And they are going to see, I'm sure, great matchup today. Seahawks and Patriots. Temperatures in the 60s there. Can't complain too much about that either. So that starts at 3:30 p.m. out west. 6:30 p.m. is kickoff here on the East Coast, but we'll have coverage all day long. So temperatures in the 60s looks great for game day there in Santa Clara, California. Somebody said every time we get snow this year, it's either on a Saturday or Sunday. You are correct. You are absolutely right. And unfortunately, that's just the pattern that we are in. I'd have to look more into more research into it, but in just the 7 years that I've been forecasting and being on air and all of that, I've noticed that usually systems will come every 3 to 4 days, and half of that or double that is a week. So if we're in this rut of snow on a weekend, maybe a little something by the middle of the week, but then snow on a weekend. Unfortunately, that is just the rut that we're in right now. We kind of saw that last year as well. So we need to get out of that rut because that's no fun. I know it's unfortunate. Everybody, we're all off on the weekends for the most part. So it's nice to actually get to enjoy that. I'll tell you right now, though, Saturday for Valentine's Day, got 6 days for all of you that need to buy stuff for your loved ones. Saturday looks good right now, but Sunday we'll have to keep an eye on, and then President's Day, I'm sure a lot of people have that off as well. We'll keep an eye on that as well. So yeah, I know it's a tough spot that we're in right now with all of these weekends getting pummeled with rain or snow or whatever it might be. So, and then nice weather during the week when we're all not outside. So yeah, very tough for sure. But I'll wrap this up here in a second. I just wanted to let everybody know that it's cold outside. I'm letting you know that right now. But of course, but at least things are getting better. So that's what the good news is. Get through a cold Sunday, a pretty chilly Monday, then Tuesday. It feels a lot better. 33 will feel like 55 because of just how cold it's been. Somebody says still better than the heat. I'd like to know what you all think. Would you rather be extremely cold or extremely hot? That's tough. That's a tough one. I'm personally just not a fan of the cold at all because you can, you there's so many layers. It's uncomfortable. The heat is tough, but usually you can, hop into a pool or something. So, but I know, in like July when we're dealing with 100-degree heat, we'll be like, oh, remember when we were freezing? So, it's the age old battle. I also think it's funny how like 30 degrees back in like, October is like we're shivering, we're freezing, but then 30 degrees in February, we're wanting to wear shorts. So just funny. Somebody said 33 degrees will feel balmy. It really will. I mean, 40 by the end of the 10-day. Like I said, I want to throw a party when we get a 40-degree day because we deserve it after how cold it's been. Somebody says, I'd rather just have spring year round. I completely agree with you. I love spring, increasing sunshine. I was also born in the spring. It's my birthday. I love it. But I also know a lot of people suffer from allergies. So every time I say, oh, I want spring all year round, other people are like, no, I'm good. Which is understandable. But the weather, fantastic. I love it. If it could be in the like 60s and 70s all year round with a nice calm wind and sunshine, I would be a happy camper. But that's not quite how it works, as we know. It would be boring, right? But stay warm through today and tonight and tomorrow. Then it'll get a lot better. So you guys are great. Thanks so much. Somebody said I'm crying, Uncle. Yeah, it's cold. It is cold. Stay inside if you can. And then it'll get, like I said, 2 more days. Not even 2 more days, really. Just get through today, get through tomorrow morning. Then it's going to feel a lot better. I mean, 9 degrees on Tuesday morning, not going to feel great, but it's going to be better because of a calm wind. So we can do this. We can get through it. And then things are looking better. Things are shaping up. So let's I don't want to say this will be our last cold blast of the year because we don't know that. But I will say just how seasons work and the increasing sun angle. This should be the coldest air of the season. Hopefully that's it. I don't want to jinx it though. So I'm going to knock on wood and not talk about it anymore. But hopefully this is it. And if it does get cold again, it's not this cold. So that's the goal for sure. So, all right. Well, thank you guys so much again for joining us on this Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday. Hopefully you're inside and enjoying our Olympics coverage. Super Bowl coverage will be starting very soon. Somebody said, we have a good 4 seasons. We have a little bit of everything. Very entertaining. That's true. Keeps us on our toes. And somebody else says, I'm moving back to Florida. Florida's been cold this year too, though. I don't know if you've seen that. It's been like everybody on the East Coast is struggling. It's been tough. All the warm air was kept in on the West Coast, trapped there. So then the central and eastern parts of the country, we were just stuck in this cold air. We still are. Things are getting better. Midwest is starting to warm up, and we're going to see that warm air here very soon. So it's getting better. And you're right. We do have 4 seasons, sometimes all in 1 week. But no, it's a good time. It keeps us on our toes. And, it's cold right now, but we're going to get through it. And we'll move on. And we're continuing to see that increasing daylight, increasing sun angle, which will inevitably warm us up anyways. So hopefully this is the last of it, or this is the coldest it's going to be, and we can move on from there. So I would just encourage you to stay inside and watch the Olympics and the Super Bowl right here on NBC Connecticut. We appreciate it so much, everybody. We'll keep you updated. If you're watching the big game tonight, Ryan Hanrahan and the rest of our team will be in right after the Super Bowl with your latest information, weather, and news. So have a great rest of your Sunday. Stay warm. We'll see you later.